And this is Joy News Prime. Many thanks for choosing us. Our bank accounts belonging to former Cocoa Board CEO Dr. Stephen Opuni will remain frozen until the end of his trial unless a higher court overturns the decision of an Accra High Court. Justice Georgina Mensah-Dacha, who has been hearing the case in which Dr. Opuni is demanding access to his accounts, ruled in favor of the Economic and Organized Crime Office on Monday, saying the agency is carrying out its task of protecting state funds. Joy News' Joseph Akable has more in the following report.
Lawyers on both sides on May 17, 2018 presented their case as to why the court must agree with them. While lawyers for Dr. Opuni wanted access to his accounts, Yoko was all against it, maintaining it may be dissipated if the court grants the request. Justice Georgina Mensah-Dacha afforded the lawyers ample time, each handed a minimum of an hour and a half to argue out the matter. The addresses got heated when lead counsel for Dr. Opuni, Samuel Kujo, expressed his frustration over how Yoko had not opposed the request for defreezing, but returned to the court to obtain a freezing order. He described the investigative body as a monster with no respect for human rights. Yoko's lawyer, Jacqueline Avotri, demanded that the court reprimand the lawyer for describing Yoko in those terms. In a short ruling read on Monday, Justice Mensah-Dacha faulted Yoko for the manner it handled the matter. She, however, said the court was inclined to dismiss the request for defreezing as Yoko's mandate is to protect state funds. A member of the former Cocoa Board CEO's legal team, Victor Daudu, told pressmen appealing the decision is an option under consideration.
Well, we look at the reasoning. You were there yourself. You saw she did not read. So we'll apply for the ruling and we will take a decision. But we are not surprised because she has that same court has made two different orders. So which one does she validate? Which one does she say it is not right? So the court itself is put in a difficult situation. So we are not surprised. We will look at the reasoning, then from there we can advise our clients. If the reasoning, we agree with the reasoning, so be it. But if we disagree and we look at the position of the law and we say we disagree, that is why there is the appellate system. That's why the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court is there. So it does not necessary to say that we are human beings. We can always make. But the situation in which this case is involved and the court has made two valid orders. Which one does she disown? Which one does she say yes? It's the same court that made two different orders. So we will look at it and see the difficulty that we appreciate. Then we appreciate the facts. So we will advise our client.
The trial of Dr. Opuni is expected to resume on June 11.
Government will soon embark on a safety audit of large-scale petroleum infrastructure in the country. The move is to safeguard recurring gas explosions in the country. Speaking at the second edition of the Association of Oil and Marketing Companies Safety Week Celebration 2018, a Deputy Minister of Energy, Mohammed Amin Adam, says safety must be addressed at its source point to effectively deal with issues pertaining to petroleum safety. For Evans January reports.
In 4 years, Ghana recorded at least 8 explosions leading to the loss of many lives. The Atomic Junction gas explosion in 2017 led to drastic measures to prevent future explosions. The National Petroleum Authority proposed the gas cylinder recirculation model, arguing that it is the safest LPG retailing method. The NPA has started implementation of the cylinder recirculation model. Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampuli, says a comprehensive risk assessment is being undertaken to categorize existing LPG refilling plants into high or low risk. Currently, the exercise has been completed in 7 regions and the reports are being compiled. He added that high-risk stations will be converted into cylinder exchange points, while low-risk stations will be upgraded to sell autogas.
We have undertaken a comprehensive risk assessment of the existing stations across the country. We have finished with about 7 regions, with 3 more regions to complete, at the end of which exercise we will categorize the stations into high risk and low risk. High risk stations which in the unlikely event of any explosion can lead to increasing number of casualties would be converted into cylinder distribution centers across the country. Low-risk stations will remain to do autogas dispensing. The cylinder recirculation model is born out of a policy that's been rolled out by the Ministry of Energy, and the MPA is the implementing agency. It's not aimed at creating job losses.
Deputy Minister of Energy Mohammed Amin Adam called on Ghanaians to cooperate and join in fighting gas explosions.
When it comes to safety audit, which the MPA is embarking on, particularly for LPG facilities, we are more than this concerned about the large-scale facility as well. And to this effect, government, with support from Cosmos Energy, will soon embark on safety audit for large-scale petroleum infrastructure. And we're beginning with infrastructure in the LPG value chain. And therefore, you will soon become aware of this safety audit on facilities at Atuabu, the Atuabu gas power plant, the Quantum LPG terminal, Fuel Trade LPG terminal, and Tor LPG distribution terminal. These facilities are all going to go through safety audit.
For now, the Ministry of Energy and the MPA want Ghanaians to get used to the gas cylinder recirculation model, assuring it is the best solution against explosions.
The Ghana West Municipal Assembly says it has initiated a process to construct a police post at Mahama to provide security for residents. The move has become necessary due to high prevalence of armed robbery attacks in the community. Residents say they are living in fear following multiple robberies during the past week. A mobile money vendor was reportedly shot in the leg in a brazen attack. Joy News' Nancy Emefa-Jadosi, who has been interacting with residents, reports some of them are considering relocating from the area.
So I am standing at Mahama, a suburb of Accra. Now this area you see here could seem to you as an area that you would be interested in and want to start a life, build a house, buy a land and grow a family on. But what you did not know is that here has become a haven for armed robbers, because just a week ago there have been multiple incidents of robbery cases recorded in this area with a mobile money vendor shot in the right foot. Now residents say they are living in fear.
7th March. Me will feel put madam for be friend say, then by this time I shop and I'm say there be me buy an store and I know that we be a me woman in the court. On
7th March, my provision shop was opened up. Everything was taken away. We are being attacked in our homes and in our shops. Here is not safe for all of us. We have built here, but the way things are going, we'll have to leave our properties behind.
Thursday, ne Monday, no better say money na. Obi so bring me 6,000 a Monday.
I went for goods on Thursday, and on Monday, everything was taken. My husband was attacked on his way home, so we decided to keep the money in the shop. But they managed to take everything, including some 7,000 Ghana cedis. I'm really scared. My home is not safe. My shop is neither safe. I don't know if we should go back to our hometowns. I'm really confused because we need help.
This is where Amael Gilbert was attacked by armed robbers, 4 of them. Now, he's supposed to be working. this shop is supposed to be open to residents of Manhia. But unfortunately for them, the man who is supposed to operate this business is down in bed with bullet wounds in his right leg.
Shop, many be transaction, no be iska. We say two guys, a bar honum, Tinam be iska. A pager meeting was back.
I was conducting transactions with one woman in the afternoon when two gentlemen walked in. I thought they were here to either withdraw or make a deposit. Before I could ask them anything, they pulled out a gun and shot my right leg. This is not the first time. I used to sell phones. Robbers attacked my phone shop and took everything away. Then I resorted to mobile money. I've been attacked again. I'm really afraid.
Mobile money. Light and any mobile money no for scanner.
We have been speaking to the Municipal Chief Executive for the Gan West Municipal Assembly, Clement Winkinston, and he's telling me that it's in the pipeline. They're trying to give the community a police post and also fix their road as soon as possible.
Very soon we get a police station at Isakina, and from Isakina to Mahia is less than 2 kilometers. But we are going to get a police post in Mahia so that it will be a supportive something for the police, Amasaman, Isakina, and Anya. So very soon we are working on it. Our road issues are very bad in the area, as we already know. But God being so good, I think a lot of the roads has been awarded for construction. From Amasama here to that side, I think very soon they will start. So as we said, by 2019, those roads will be fixed.
From here at Mahia in Accra, I am Nancy Mefajua-Adosi.
And back in the studio in Kokomlemle, Accra, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Still to come in this bulletin, medical laboratory scientists withdraw night, weekend and holiday services as they give Ministry of Health a 1-week ultimatum to rectify anomalies regarding salaries.
Services. No weekend, no holiday services. And from next week, if that doesn't happen, we're going to withdraw all services.
It's more after this break. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, if you need emergency medical attention, do not consider the 37 Military Hospital as an option. That's because the second largest referral center in Accra has shut down its emergency unit to conduct a fumigation exercise. The hospital, in a statement, says the emergency unit will be closed for 9 days in order to deal with the infestation. Brigadier General Yaboy Japan tells Joy News only 1 of 4 units at the emergency center is being shut for the fumigation exercise.
It's not all the emergency units. 37 has 4 emergency units. We have the medical emergency, trauma and surgical, pediatric emergency, and obstetrics and gynecology emergency. It's the medical emergency that we are closing down. The reason being that it's something we do, if your listeners or anybody will remember, we do it annually. We close down a ward or an emergency department and fumigate the place. So it's the medical emergency that we are closing it down. What is that we are not taking in any patients from today right up to the 29th so that we will do the fumigation.
The concern is that, considering the role that 37 Military Hospital plays in healthcare delivery in this country, especially in the capital, is it not possible to undertake this exercise in a way that you wouldn't have to come to the point of closure?
That would have been the best. But what for fumigating purposes, you can't fumigate half of the building and then you fumigate the other half another time. If not, the organisms you want to kill will move to the other side, and then when you are going to the other half, they will move to the other. So all have to be closed down and fumigated at once. And in this particular case, we are using a drug that
The Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists say they have withdrawn night, weekend and holiday services. The group has given a one-week ultimatum to the Ministry of Health to rectify anomalies regarding salaries and also resolve issues bordering on their autonomy. The lab scientists say they have had to resort to a strike because all attempts to get the Ministry of Health to address their concerns have proved futile. Joining us is Charity Emil Bartels reports from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where the lab scientists have been protesting.
From today, May 21, you will not have access to lab services in government hospitals across the country after 5 p.m. Till Friday, if government does not heed the concerns of the association, you won't have access to the services throughout the day from next week, starting from Monday, May 29. President of the association, Dr. Ignatius A.N. Awinibonu, says despite the critical nature of their work, such as blood matching, kidney test and organ test, disease surveillance among others, lab scientists in the country are denied better conditions of services.
This is not something we have wished. We are gentlemen who like to work in our corner to produce results, quality results. Even when you take a blood sample, the exposure of the blood sample is done in the laboratory. We are exposed to those dangers.
Dr. Awinibonu says the association has taken cognizance of the severe impacts of their strike action on their patients, but suspects foul play in the manner in which the health ministry as well as the hospital administration has been handling their issue.
Most of the tests, about close to 40–50% of them cannot be done here. Why? A number of reasons. No reagents, because suppliers have not been paid. 2, people prefer to staff the labs so that they can shuttle the samples to their private labs to make money. We've had people dying here because they've not had potassium results. And in the night, that private lab which they rely on doesn't work. And they report this and cover these matters secretly.
Deputy Chief Biomedical Scientist at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Thomas Dankwa, tells Joy News the prolonged reluctance of government and the health ministry to constitute a directorate to address their concerns is worrying.
The condition of service, we've gone, our other colleagues have had years being paid. But as and now, since the time their own was paid up to now, none of us have even received anything, and we're still working. If you go around, you realize that if you go into our washroom right now, you realize that it is not the best of conditions.
Some of the agitating members of the association shared their frustrations with Joy News.
Because we are not represented up there at the top management level, somebody else takes decisions for us. And if the person doesn't have you in their interest, they will just run you down. It's like tint the cat black and kill it.
Basically, what we are asking is simple. 1, we want a directorate. 2, we want to run our own affairs. We want our own accounts. And we want to rectify the anomaly on the single spine. Basically, those are the 3 things we are asking for. Is that too much to ask? That is all.
The Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists says it is hopeful that government and the health ministry will positively engage leadership of the association during the 1-week partial strike, but threatens to embark on total withdrawal of emergency services, including surveillance report, blood bank, and national projects and services from 29th of May 2018. Charity Emil Bartels reporting for Joy News.
Let's all talk health, because an audit report has revealed 20 members of Parliament's Health Committee received 400,000 cedis from the National Health Insurance Scheme without receipts. The May 2018 report suggests management of the scheme authorized and approved the monies given to the MPs who were expected to sensitize their constituents on the NHIS during the Christmas period. We'll hear from the NHIS shortly, but first, here is a news desk report.
The report says there was no activity budget detailing the exact work to be undertaken by the legislators, and there's no activity report after the special exercise to support the payment. It is not clear why the special exercise was limited to only members of the Select Committee of Parliament, as the NHIS did not explain their reason for the choice. The auditors blamed the anomaly on, quote, management's failure to really scrutinize the request before effecting the payment. the situation as found lacks accountability and transparency. It also amounts to a breach of financial regulations and could result in misappropriation of public funds, the audit service said. The management of the NHIS is to provide the audit service with the necessary supporting document, failure of which the authorizing and approving officers are to refund the 400,000 cedis. The audit service also advised the management that in situations where the intended purpose for which such monies are paid cannot be justified, further release to the MPs should cease.
Well, Deputy Director in charge of marketing at the NHIA, Oswald Ichwa Mensah, has been explaining to joinees what the funds were intended for.
We need to discuss this issue, but I also want to bring to your notice that these are just observations, right? So we certainly need to respond formally to the observations to the audit service before we can actually comment on the final report. I think that will be the proper thing to do. However, I'm sure that you are aware that in law, the NHIA supports the members of parliament, and so it's not unusual for NHIA to pay funds to members of parliament.
Well, it could not be unusual, but it is unusual when there are no receipts. Well, every government money spent has to come with some sort of...
Again, let me reassure you that NHIA will not do payments without due process or without recourse to the right procedures. Let me tell you that certainly all payments that are done from the NHIA are paper-backed and legally bound. So this is again an observation that somebody has raised that needs to be verified or proven otherwise. So I don't want us to jump to conclusions that payments have been done without receipts. So again, I'll say that if we do have a final report that we're speaking to, perhaps some of these things might not even reappear in an observation.
We'll soon get reactions from Parliament as soon as we get the ranking member of Parliament's Health Committee, Yilechre, on the phone to react to this matter. But for now, we take a break on Joy News Prime. We'll come back with business.
Hello again. Good evening to you. It's now time for business. President Akufo-Addo has charged the private sector to do all it can to support moves by the central bank to restore confidence in the banking sector. The president says his government will give all the necessary assistance to the regulator to ensure Ghanaians have confidence in the sector. Addressing the opening of the 3rd annual CEO Summit here in Accra, the president noted that the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda cannot be achieved with only foreign banks. He called for efforts to strengthen indigenous banks. Ebenezer Saboti has more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana in the past few months has been tough on ensuring compliance with rules to regulate the country's banking industry. In a keynote address at the 3rd Ghana CEO Summit in Accra, President Akufo-Addo said his government cannot afford to have an unstable banking sector. He promised his government's utmost support for the regulator to ensure that confidence is further instilled. The president therefore charged the private sector businesses to support the central bank in that direction.
I'm relieved that the Bank of Ghana is tightening up its regulatory and oversight activities on banks, especially in the areas of lending and other risky endeavors. We cannot afford instability or recklessness in the banking and financial sectors. For any loss of confidence in the banks is bound to have a ripple effect on the stability of the economy as a whole. I want to urge all of us to allow the regulator, which is the central bank, to deal with these matters and restore sanity and confidence. It is in all our interests that all financial matters are dealt with professionally and without political interference, no matter how tempting. Nonetheless, it is important that the regulator recognizes that a banking sector dominated by foreign-owned banks does not bode well for the Ghana Beyond Aid project. It is essential that indigenous banks grow and survive in any meaningful reform of the banking system.
On her part, country representative of the IMF to Ghana said she believes the Bank of Ghana is on the right path to building a safer and strong banking sector.
ensuring that the financial sector here in Ghana is sound, and it is very important for all businesses. And why it is so important is because all of you need financing, and we all know that despite declining interest rates and despite the Bank of Ghana reducing its policy rate, lending rates are still quite high. And the reason for that is a high level of non-performing loans. What is this? This is a legacy issue which was accumulated over the years. However, it cannot really be, the decision of this issue cannot really be protracted. So I would say that the Bank of Ghana is taking very decisive measures in a timely and orderly manner, and we all look forward to the resolution and to reducing the non-performing loans, which would actually encourage banks to lend more to the private sector, hopefully at lower rates.
The opening of the CEO Summit brought together business entrepreneurs and managers of industries and private sector businesses from all sides of the economy.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has dropped the policy rate to 17%. The Bank of Ghana dropped the rate from 18% by 100 basis points. The rate is the lowest since November 2013. There's more in this report.
There are two things that should be considered here. So whilst the policy rate signals the outlook, the banks are dealing with not just the outlook but the past, because we've come from a past where a lot of troubles in the financial sector and the economy at large led to a deteriorating loan book, so that about 23% of their loan book averagely is at risk of not being paid back. Now, if that happens, those are depositors' funds that they collected and gave out as loans. That is at risk of not being paid back. The only way they can make up for that is to charge high interest rates. So until that situation improves, you may not see, and we are not likely to see, immediate reduction in the overall lending rates. However, a component of it is the reference rates, which we expect to see immediate impact on, but the risk premium is where there will be some sluggishness.
I know that most of the banks complain that we're being owed by government. We've heard government say we're going to try to settle all the debts, and so my next question was going to be, is there going to be a timeline? Are we ever going to see that the cost of credit reduces because of the decision the central bank has taken?
Yeah, I think
anytime soon.
There will be, for me, my expectation will be like the next 3 months, and even the governor himself alluded to the fact that it's not likely immediately. They are still assessing the impact, and they are looking towards Q3. And I would think that late or ending of Q3 before we will start seeing the impact, because that will be the time when a lot of the capitalization issues or recapitalization issues will also start coming home, and we'll see which of the banks are meeting it and will meet it, and that should start driving the bank's readiness to start lending.
All right, so that was an economist version on the current development where the Bank of Ghana has reduced the policy rate to 17%. Let's now take the main story where the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, has been announcing the policy rates reduction.
According to the governor of the Bank of Ghana, the cut was due to favorable economic outlook.
Global growth is expected to strengthen in the short term, supported by positive business and consumer confidence and expectations of stronger profitability. The higher growth will speed up exit from unconventional monetary policies in the advanced countries. Although global financing conditions remain favorable, the strengthening of the US dollar, rising oil prices, and US long-term yields are beginning to exert pressures on emerging market currencies and could have implications on frontier economies.
On the recapitalization, the governor insisted that it would not revise the December 31 deadline.
I think we have been very clear in that communication on sticking to the deadline, and we have given the options, the options for those who cannot meet the deadline. So we expect that by the end of the next Monetary Policy Committee meeting, we should be able to tell you the banks that are taking advantage of the various options that have been put on the table. Hopefully by that time the committee that is looking at ways in which government can support the local, domestic, indigenous.
Dr. Addison added that it has come very far in taking a decision on gold buying firm Men's Gold.
What is clear to us is that they have a system that accepts deposits from the public. That is becoming very clear. We are trying to have discussions with the ministry in charge of, is it Lands and Mineral Resources, who originally gave them their license, right? So we are trying to have discussions with the ministry on the way forward in addressing the Men's Gold issue. But we are convinced that they are taking deposits. And we don't want to act alone. We want to have an action which will be also backed by another arm of the government.
The governor also added that they're expecting a report from KPMG on what next for Unibank after acting as administrators.
Now, the impact of the indefinite strike called by the LPG Operators Association is gradually being felt. Several LPG filling stations in Accra remained shut, with customers left disappointed. Charles Aite went around some of the stations and has come through with this report.
Operators of LPG across the country have responded to a call by the leadership to strike in protest against the new cylinder recirculation model. During our visit, it was observed that various gas filling stations were closed down. Here at the Trinity LPG filling station, the situation was not different, as some consumers expressed their frustration to join business. Amidi operates on a gas-powered vehicle. To him, the indefinite strike will directly affect his business.
This have to buy gas because I need to serve my customers, and I need gas. Without gas, I can't move to serve my customers also. Because every day I came here to buy gas, but this morning I came here to buy gas. I need the place is closed.
So what's your next option?
Well, I need to park the car because I don't have gas to move the car now. Because I need to park the car now.
How do you feel about this strike action by them?
Yeah, it's very bad because I was here on Friday. They told me the action cannot go on this morning because I'm surprised when I came to the gas filling station I couldn't get gas. So this is serious because I need to go and park the car in the house. I don't think if I park the car you can park because my gas is empty now because I need to top up.
Joy Business also spoke with another LPG consumer who felt frustrated about the development.
I'm here to fill my gas.
But you know the guys are not opening, right?
Yeah, I heard it on telly and radio. Yeah, but I thought, it was just a joke, but I didn't know I thought this serious. Yeah. Right now, I've noticed that the strike is very, they really mean it, so I need to go and put it down for further notice. Right now, I need to use charcoal and then so that.
Our next stop was the gold filling station at Dansoman in Accra. Our decision to visit the station was to confirm a release by the indigenous marketing company that all their LPG filling outlets would not be affected by the indefinite strike by the LPG Operators Association. The company was not officially closed but was not active as a result of some technical challenges encountered. Owusu Afriyie is the manager of the Dansoman gas filling station.
We have a lot of some challenges. On Friday, Saturday, the number of people that came here had effect on our skills, weighing skills. So we call in our mechanics. They've just finished with the work. So you are looking, even the way it is, you have 3, but 2 is out of order. And to manage 1 with the number of people we are anticipating, that will rush here. That's why we want to at least get 2 working. On normal occasions, the number of people that come here is no joke. It's an average of 600 to 700 cylinders a day. So if other stations around are not selling, you can imagine how the place will be like. That's why we decided not to start to make sure that you have the skills working.
There are fears the gas stations open to business could be overwhelmed by the huge number of LPG consumers as the strike proceeds.
And that's all we have for you by way of business tonight. Thank you so much for your attention. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji. We are free this morning ahead. Don't go away yet.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. We go straight to Tamale, where staff of the Ghana Highway Authority in the northern region say they have suspended operations till further notice following constant attacks on workers by irate youth. The workers are demanding protection and arrest of the attackers, who they say are foot soldiers of the governing New Patriotic Party. Northern Region correspondent Hashmin Mohammed joins me on the phone with details. Hashmin, how serious are these attacks on staff of the Ghana Highway Authority in the region?
Well, according to a statement issued by of the Ghana Highway Authority in the region, that somewhere in February this year, the irate youth came to the office and warned them. And in March, they were back at the office. And the most recent one was last week, an incident where the irate youth attacked them for allegedly awarding a contract to a contractor who is said to be a member of the opposition Democrat. All put together.
Hashmin, can you reposition yourself? We're losing you.
So all these incidents put together, all these three separate incidents of attacks put together, the staff says it is putting them in a state of insecurity at their working environment, and they want authorities to deal with the incident. They are calling on the Ministry of Roads and Highways to condemn the attack, and they have also reported the incident to the police. When I visited the premises this evening, 2 armed police personnel were stationed at the premises, but they have issued an inscription announcing to the public that they will be working to further notice and such time that they are assured of their security.
What has the police been telling you regarding their preliminary investigations?
Police say they are still investigating the incident, but they have stationed 2 armed police officers at the main entrance of the secretariat.
All right. Many thanks to you. Hashmin Mohammed is our correspondent in the northern region. We'll get to the bottom of this matter, and he'll be giving us updates as and when they come in. Now, the Tema Regional Police Command says it is deploying drones as part of measures in the fight against crime. Tema Region in the last few years has fraught with crimes committed by criminals who have difficulty in tracing and arresting them. It is in this vein that the police in Tema have added drone operations to existing patrols. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has filed the following report.
Security agencies in advanced countries deploy modern tech in addition to existing ways of crime prevention. The fight against crime has become sophisticated across the globe, with technology such as drones playing leading roles. Tema Regional Commander DCOP Nana Asumahene, in an interview with Joy News, says drone operations will take their fight against crime a step further.
I am highly impressed, very successful. I'm sure even the demo, when we go after analyzing it, we'll get something good out of it. Who told you it's only in the night? You were all here when they killed that Lebanese. So it's not only in the night. In the afternoon too, the people commit crime. And that's why it's even worse. In the night, what we are doing is that now we know, we are aware. So from one step, we move to the second step. So make sure that we configure it and make sure we have the night vision attached to the cameras and all the infrared as well. It's technology. It's there quickly. We only go and buy and fit it. No visibility, obviously, we are all in town and you see that it's not all that good. We don't have a lot of lights within the areas. So earlier when I told you, we are liaising with the assembly to illuminate the whole city. So as of now, most part of the city are in darkness.
Meanwhile, drone pilot Chief Inspector Jonathan Ashi says personnel are well equipped to man these drones.
We used to compare, especially where the armed robbery is rampant. We normally always use drone to trace them. So at the moment, I don't think we have any problem with the crime combatant. And then we have another man who is the field commander. He will identify the specific thing you want. Either if demonstration, you have to get the leaders. So he will identify with the leader, one has passed here. So you will follow the drone to the leader that you are looking for. So always you have to get 4 men to fly one drone.
DCOP Nana Asumahene, who bought the drone for the command, says more will be purchased if need be. Kwame Yankes reports for Joy News. Tema.
Let's still talk about crime, and the Operation Kondalgo team has arrested 2 people in the Bunkurungo district of the northern region for processing substances suspected to be illicit drugs. Majid Mohammed and Mariam Dramani were picked up in a village called Sakogu when a combined team of security personnel from Ghana and Togo went into the community. Operation Kondalgo was launched by 4 countries in the sub-region consisting of Ghana, Benin, Togo and Burkina Faso to combat cross-border crime. Northern Regional Crimes Officer Superintendent Owusu Afriyie tells Joy News the 2 will be arraigned on Tuesday and the substance to Accra for further testing.
What happened was that there was an operation involving Ghana Security Services and that of Togo. It was called Operation Kudangu. From 16th of this month to 18th of this month. And the purpose of the operation was to combat, what we call it, cross-border crime, such as armed robbery, human trafficking, and drug business. So on the 18th of this month, suspect, what we call him, Majid Mohammed, age 39, was arrested selling dry leaf suspected to be Indian hemp. Around the same vicinity, there's a place called Sakobu village. Suspect Mariam Dahamani, age 39, is a female. She was arrested with 15 bags of fertilizer sacks containing Indian hemp, 15 bags of Indian hemp. And when questioned, she said that the stuff belongs to his husband. Unfortunately for police, the husband was not around, so she was picked up, and now he's here at the regional CID. We are processing him, and we are processing the 2 of them. Then tomorrow, Tuesday, they will be arraigned before court, while the exhibit will be sent to police forensic laboratory for analysis.
Former President John Dramani Mahama has called out President Akufo-Addo, accusing him of peddling falsehood about his legacy. President Akufo-Addo is reported to have told chiefs and people on Nkranza in the Bono-Ahafo region last week that capital investments made by the Mahama administration cannot be seen, referring to them as ghost projects. Well, the office of the former president has issued a statement which I will be reading assets to you. The statement was signed by his aide, Joyce Bar Mokhtari, and it says the least President Akufo-Addo must do is to add to his predecessors' significant gains instead of rolling back the clock of socio-economic transformation. After 17 months in office, what the people want to see are the projects initiated or started by the president since he was sworn into office. In the Bono-Ahafo region, for instance, the region had its fair share of development, which can be attested by the chiefs, and he mentions some projects, roads, health sector, water sector, rural electrification, among others. And the statement continues to say, let me place on record that the above list is by no means exhaustive. And he says, we note sadly that owing to this failure, President Akufo-Addo is touring the country empty-handed with little or nothing to show for his stewardship so far. As a consequence, he has resorted to making more promises on his regional tours after 17 months in office. The much-awaited campaign promises of 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, $1 million for each constituency every year are yet to materialize. The statement was signed by the aide of the ex-president, Joyce Bawa Mokhtari. Let's do more, because repayment plan for a loan contracted to rebuild the Kejetia Central Market in Kumasi is likely to be in jeopardy following delay in completion of the project. Government's plan is to repay the $259 million loan with funds to be realized from the market. Unfortunately, completion of the first phase of the project is behind schedule, even though the start date to repay the loan is drawing near. Touring the project site in Kumasi, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Local Government and Rural Development expressed worry over the delay and its implications on loan repayment. Nana Ojima was with members of the committee and our reports.
The delay in execution of the project hinges directly on litigation on structures earmarked for demolition to aid completion. They include this structure sited few meters from one of the entrances to the Kejetia enclave, blocking access to roads and drainage systems. It causes the ground floor of the new market to flood whenever it rains. Another sits few meters from an area designated for electrical systems for the new market. Though various attempts have been made to demolish these buildings, they continue to stand, impeding completion of the project. Even orders from the Kumasi Traditional Council to demolish the building are yet to yield any results. Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Local Government, Kennedy Oseinyako, after inspecting the project, said the new market will have to be completed and handed over to city authorities by end of September this year.
The contractor, the consultant, they should be a must. Make sure the project is ready and give it to the people, because we can no longer wait for any more months or more years. No, they have to finish it. I'm sure there's a major work that is going on as well. They will put the installation, the electrical part of it, which they say they have done major part of it. They are almost done. We are waiting for them. I'm sure from now to August they should be able to finish it. KMA should be able to take hold of this facility and let the marketers the traders come in so that they can start, because we approved the second phase loan long ago.
At a meeting later in the day, the Parliamentary Committee proposed the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly partner private developers to help pay compensation for demolition. Mr. Oseinyako again.
Advise them that they should get a couple of investors, let them look at the area, do the assessment, the valuation of those properties that they have to factor in with whatever PPP arrangement, and get a private investor to develop them once he paid for itself, because we are waiting for government to make money available to do that. I'm sure government to be very difficult, because we are talking about getting money to do the demolition. After demolition, what is next?
The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly reveals they are already in talks with a private developer to construct a modern storage car park at the area to reduce pressure on the project. Chief Executive Osei Esibe Entry says plans are far advanced to deal with all obstacles impeding completion.
We are demolishing the project because we want to use that land for a project that is going to commensurate with the existing project that is there. And the most ultimate one has to do with the car parks or car rising parks. So with that, we will now be looking for an investor who will come in, accept the cost, and add the cost with project costs. And at the end of the day, to take the headache out of KME.
Nana Ojima reporting.
Welcome back, and it's on top of the hour. Let's check our stories making headlines. And bank accounts belonging to former CocoBot CEO Dr. Opuni will remain frozen until his trial ends, unless a higher court overturns the ruling of a high court hearing the case. Residents of Mahia in Accra living in fear following multiple robbery attacks. We heard from the MCE on steps being taken to provide security for residents. And Business President Akufo-Addo breaks silence on recent happenings in banking sector, but supports moves by the central bank to strengthen the banking sector. Also, medical crisis looms at 37 military hospital, shuts down medical emergency units for more than a week to allow fumigation.